as a part of supporting the community and individuals to eliminate or reduce the potential of electricity risks in home and offices. My name is Marwan Najm. I'm working as a technical trainer. Today webinars will be utilized to talk about the following points. We'll talk about the energy definitions and types. We will talk about the electrical system equipments in general. We'll have a look about the hazards by electricity. We'll talk about the most important hazard, which is electrical shock. What's the meaning of electrical shock? How it's happened? What's the condition for shock? Also, we'll talk about the injuries occurred and result for such shock. We'll explain the current path in the human body. It's essential, I believe. Once we understand all of this, we'll be more aware how to deal and how to avoid such risks and hazards. At the end, we will have short session talking about the control of electricity risks, what the precautions that we have to do and follow to reduce the potential of these risks, and how we can provide our home members, our family, our team members in the office with the requirements, knowledge required to behave in case any electrical accidents happen. So join me during that. And again, in any time you have any questions or doubt, please write down the chat. Now, we'll talk about the type of energy. In the beginning, what's the meaning of energy? Anybody has any idea? What's the meaning of energy? Anybody would like to tell me? Power. Good one. Anything else maybe come in your mind when we'll talk about energy? Okay, I will say that energy is the capacity to initiate an action, and it's available in our universal in different types. We have kinetic energy, we have potential energy, we have mechanical energy, we have chemical energy, we have a lot of different phases of energy. And we know that the energy cannot be vanished, neither cannot be created, but it's interchanging from phase to phase. And one of these energy types or phases is the electromagnetic energy, or what we can use it, what we know as electricity. Electricity is the energy that's being utilized in electrical system and using and used to start and use the electrical equipments and assets. And we know that electrical equipment, it's available in our day-to-day details in wide manner. We are using electricity in our houses, in our cars, in our offices, in our workshops, and everywhere else. And as everything in this world, energy has its positive or advantage. Also, it has risks or backwards in case that was used not in proper way, or the utilizer or the person who's dealing with that hasn't the enough level of understanding or knowledge to deal with the electricity in safe manner. Now, as I said, electricity is being utilized to start operate huge number of assets and devices, electrical devices in this world. And that will come through different stages, starting from generation, ending with the plugs or sockets that we can use or use in our offices or daily life. So in general, the power system consists of 4 main stages. The generation, which is the part that we create or we initiate the electricity or the power. Transmission, it's the phase that we transfer the generated energy to the districts or the cities or the places that's going to be utilized. Distribution phase, which is the third part, is what we can see in our districts or streets from overhead cables and small transporter or transformers. This phase is to distribute and reduce the level of the energy and make it proper to be used for normal houses and offices and buildings. The last stage is the load, which is our side as a utilizer, as a user for the electricity. So load could be a house or office, it could be AC, it could be lighting system. This is the load. Or end users, we are dealing more with these parts, the load part. And it's important for us to understand how we can use this in safe manner and what the risks that may come during this using or utilizing, and what is the proper way that we can act or do in case any emergency or accidents will happen. And this is the main topics for today. Now, again, as we did explain that electricity as a type of energy, it has its own inherent dangers. It could cause shock, absolutely it will cause heat, also explosion or arcing and sparking. The most important thing for us as a normal utilizer dealing with the low level of electrical energy, electrical shock is the most usual risk that we can deal with. Let's understand what's the meaning of electrical shock and how it's happened. We know that electricity as an energy needs a path to go through, which is usually, we know them as wires or cables, which is conductors insulated by insulation materials to keep the electricity moving in the proper conductor, proper path, and absolutely keep anything else of disturbing that path. So any electricity will move through the conductor will has sometimes some damage in that insulation or some improper fixing for that insulation. And in the result, it will be like a hazard. It will be a place that the electricity may jump outside this and attack nearby people or assets. And sometimes, if the person will be, by mistake, part of that electrical circuit, unfortunately, the electricity will find a way to move through the human body and cause the electrical shock. So the electrical shock is the moment that electricity will move from its path, which is cable or wire or electrical device, and attack or jump through the electrical body. Absolutely, that will hurt the person or the human body. I will tell you that the electricity during moving will look for any easy path to move through. And if that mistake will happen and the human body will be part of that circuit, the electricity will move through the human body looking for the ground or sink point, which we called it ground in our sector. So we can conclude that the main conditions for the electrical shock to be happened is free path contact through the body, 2 points of contact, the in and the out, and absolutely we need a source, which will be a wire, electrical assets, or equipment. If the electrical shock has been happened, it will affect the individual in varying way and different levels. And that will be subjected to different factors. For example, voltage level and time subjected to is one of the main factors to affect of the level of affecting on the body. If the voltage level was high, it will be enough to cause death or serious injury, even if the time was less. Also, if the voltage level was low or in medium, but the touch or contact situation with the electrical source was occurring for a long time, that will also cause a serious injury and problem. Also, some physics characteristics of the victim. I will say that the person who had huge body will affect less with the person who has tiny body, or absolutely the children will affect more worse comparing with the older people. The third point is the degree of contact with the conductor or the earth. This will be more clear in next stage when I will go through the graphics to explain what the meaning of contact and conductor's earth. Also, the state of the victim's skin. Some skins could be wet, and that will make the electricity able to cause more advanced injury. Environmental conditions, as much as the environment could contain some humidity, that will make the effect of electrical shock more and worse. Sometimes somebody will wonder and say, usually the workers who's working in the electrical sector, they could be facing electrical shock, but they are not hurt seriously. I would say that this will belong to the physics characteristics of the victim. These people will use to face and deal with electrical shock from time to time, and their bodies will have their resistance, and that will let them less affected by electrical shock. Now, what's the meaning of current path? If you remember, we talked about electricity needs a path to flow through. And in normal cases, that path will be a wire or a cable. In any manner, that cable will carry the electricity from the source to the load and go back to the source again. We called it electrical circuit. Now, let's talk about this bird that I believe most of you saw or watched a lot of birds standing on the overhead lines or transmission lines in streets and our normal cities without getting shocked. Now, the electricity will move through this cable, which is the bird is on direct contact with. But the bird will not get shocked because there is no second point through the bird, so the current will move through the body of the bird and move to the next stage. This will be more clear if we will see what's happening here. For this drawing, we have the same electrical circuit with the same bird, and we have an unlucky person here who got shocked. Why? Because he got the main two conditions for electrical shock, which is 2 points of contact and source. So when the current will move through up to this point, he will find two paths to move through, the load and the body of the person. And while the person will stand on the ground will be the same point of ending source. So we have complete circuit. And this is what we call the external path for electricity, which is called the shock. In this drawing, we have the same bird standing in the same place with no shock, and we have another person who had the two contact points he touched the part of the circuit. Still, he's standing on the ground, which is the same common back source point, but the person is not shocked because this point and this point are considered one point with this point, in meaning that he had only one point contact. The ground, the end source, and the point that person is touching here and the ground are considered as only one point. So the person will not get shocked. Now, if we be able to avoid these two conditions or any one of them, to avoid touching live line or to be part of complete current path or circuit, we will be safe of shocking. Now, if the person will, let's study this case as well. If the person will touch the live line and he was standing on the ground, at the same time we can see that the electrical circuit has no contact with the ground. It means that the person has only one contact point, which is not enough or not sufficient to let the electrical shock happen. The same person, if by accident any tree was nearby and touched the wires or the cable of that electrical system, the case will be, or the situation will be, the person is still touching the live line and he's standing on the ground, and by that accident touch, we have the tree to touch the circuit, and that tree is part of the ground. Unfortunately, the current will find path to flow through the person body, and that will cause the electrical shock. At the end, we know that two contacts and source will cause the shock, and we have to keep in our mind avoiding any one of these points to keep our safety during dealing with any electrical asset or system. Now, I want you to focus on this, if you don't mind, gents, because this will be part of the risk in case we want to rescue some shocked person. Now, in case that person got shocked, person got touched with live line and he was touching ground, and other person was touched the back point, feedback point from the system, and he was touching ground also, both of them will be the reason to shock each other, because the current will through the cable to the first body, to the ground, to the second body, and go back to the system. So in case you will be in a place that the person, one person, somebody is shocked or is under electrical shock, you have to be aware and you have to be cautious, because maybe he will provide the path of the electricity to your body. Also, if you will observe any person under shock and you will go directly to touch him or pull him with no precaution, he will be the path to transfer the electricity to your body. So at the end, both of you will be shocked. Later on, we will talk about the precautions that we have to follow in case we will explore any electrical accidents. Now, if we can see, we have two persons. The first person, he is in touch with the lifeline and the ground, and another person is touching the feedback point or back point and the ground. And by accident, we have a tree nearby which touched one of the cables here. We can see that the tree will provide complete electrical path through the first person to the source to the electrical system. And unfortunately, that person will get shocked. While the second person who's touching the live with the ground, he is in the same point of the attachment of the tree. It means there is no potential, there is no source to push the current or electrical current through the person. So he will be safe. What is the purpose of all these drawings? To explain what's the meaning of the electrical shock and what are the conditions required to be happened. Sometimes we feel electricity while there is nothing nearby. So we can see from here that electricity in any live system looking for easy available path to flow through. And if we were not cautious enough, we didn't take the precautions required, maybe we'll be part of this path and we will be shocked. Now, this table is to explain the level of the hurt or the accident could be caused by different level of electrical current. Now, the badly effect starting with 1 milliampere. 1 milliampere, it's 1 part of 1,000 of 1 ampere. And for your information, the maximum current that we use in our offices or home, it will be through the heaters or the ACs. These equipment are consuming a level of 13 ampere. Other lighting system, other refrigerators or LCDs will consume maybe 2 or 3 amperes. Why I'm mentioning this, I want to bring your attention that these numbers in milliamperes, 1 part of 1,000 part of the ampere. So even less value of the current will cause a pain, will cause accidents. Now, direct current will come from batteries that we are using in cars, we are using in our mobile tablets, UPS system maybe if we will use, so that direct current. And 50 hertz or AC, which is alternative current coming from National Guard that we are using in normal application, lightings, heatings, and so on. Now for men, if one man got shocked with 1 milliampere, he will slight sensation felt. He will feel some shock is there. But if one lady got shocked with less 0.6 milliampere, she will feel that. We can see that ladies' body are more sensitive and affected by the current comparing with the body of men. So ladies, please be cautious during using the electrical assets and applications. From this table also, we can see that the slight felt has been done by only 1 milliampere direct current could be caused by almost half value if it was AC. We can see that AC here is more dangerous than DC. Now, if the shock will be the value of the current which caused the shock will be increased to 5 times or 5.2 milliampere, we'll start to feel threshold perception. If that will jump to 62 milliampere, the painful and muscles control maintained. You can feel the pain, but still you can control your hand and maybe you have the chance to pull it from the shock point. While ladies will face the same situation with only 40 milliamperes. They will feel pain, but still they have the capacity to pull their hands. They have the control on the muscle. With slight increment, about 76 milliampere, painful and unable to let go of the wires. We call it, he's being coated by the electricity. He's even losing the control of his muscle or his hands or body to move. Right. This is only for information, gents. My advice is not to try this or try to measure anything of that. If you have any concern, if you have any doubt, you can communicate with us in NTI, and absolutely will provide you with the proper advice and action needed. This graphs, I use it just to explain that the human body has its own resistance. I will mention this, maybe I didn't mention previously, that even the conductor point, even the conductor material, the cables and wires, they have their own resistance against the current or electricity. So the body of the human will have its own resistance value, and this was calculated through some experiments and some measurement, special measurement. I will say that this level of resistance will be supported or will be increased by using proper wearing, proper gloves, proper shoes, in case we are going to deal with electrical systems. I think most of us, we use this word in our home or offices, that don't go and work or switch on or switch off the lights without wearing shoes or slipper, all right? Or you will caution your child that don't switch on the lights while your hands are wet. I believe most of us did use this, and that has technical or scientific base, because he is wearing, the water will affect the resistance of the human body. And we know as much the resistance high, the current will go through in less manner. So we maintain the resistance high to avoid going current through our bodies or getting shocked. Let's see these numbers. If the hand or foot contact isolated with rubber, which is the proper PPEs that we use during the work or dealing with electrical systems, the value of the resistance will be 20 mega ohm, which is huge. I will say it's enough to stop any electrical current. So next point will show the foot contact through the leather shoe dray will be from 100 to 500 kilo ohm. Still reasonable. But if the same shoe got wet, it will be dropped to 5 to 20 kilo ohm. Again, if these numbers were less, more potential of electrical current go through, and the electrical shock will happen. At the end, the naked body of the human will maintain only 10 ohm, 10 ohm, which is Soulis number. So we are using the isolation cloth, isolation equipment to enhance and increase the resistance and stop the electrical shock. What could be the injuries will be results from electrical shock? Again, it will be dependent on different factors we did talk about previously, if you remember. Mainly, thermal burns will happen. Muscles, nerve, and tissue could be destructed. This is the worst that cardiac arrest or respiratory failure, and this will be fatal or cause to death. Also, there's some type, we call it secondary injuries. For example, you are up to stair and working in some electrical system, and you got slightly shocked, but For uncaused movement, you lost your balance and dropped from the stairs. You will hit yourself, and that will cause secondary injuries. That's happened by the electrical shock indirectly. Now, we know that we have no way only to deal with electrical in our day-to-day life. We cannot ignore it, and we don't have a proper replacement. So, in the same time, we know that it is dangerous. So, what we can do to deal or to be able dealing with this potential hazards in safe manner and protect ourselves, our belongings, and absolutely our families and team members. In general, there are three main areas that we have to put on focus. If you can say, for short term, we have to use improved engineering. And this is, by the way, this will be wide term, will include the quality of the electrical device that we use, the environment conditions of around those equipments, the protection that we are using, the type of switch and plugs that we are using, and we will talk in some details about it. Also, we have to put to the consideration using improved home medical equipment. These equipment that we can use in case any emergency will happen. And the main area that we have to put to our consideration is ourselves as a human being, because we are the main factor through all the process, starting from installation, ending with day-to-day use of electrical equipment. So it's important that we, as a human, our families members, our team members, our colleagues in college or office, they have the enough level of understanding how to use or what is the proper way to use the electrical devices or systems. Also, what is the procedures in case any electrical accidents will happen. Absolutely, we are here in NTI have the world-class trainers who has the vast experience in such sectors, and we are ready to help and give the proper advice and training in this sector. You can easily reach us on our contacts on social media or on our headquarters in Gala Industry area, and absolutely somebody from our team will be in your support. Now, talking about improved engineering or improved design, I will talk about simple example. Now, for example, here I have proper leakage with the core system or electrical bath, while some another same system with bad quality or non-proper finishing could have some leakage or touch. We call it short circuit with the out enclosure. So the normal user will come with this experience. He will touch or he will start directly deal with the electrical system, and he will not be aware whether that enclosure is in direct touch with the electrical circuit or it's complete isolated. Now, I'm not requesting everybody from you to become an electrical technician and go and make some tests, but I would recommend that you to deal with good quality of assets or devices and there is no mind if you can train yourself, engage in some training system, training course, and understand how you can distinguish between the good and bad designed electrical system device. Some special type of switches. We called it an electrical circuit residual protection system switch. These switches have ability to measure the going current and coming current. And if they will sense any deviation in the value, it means some leakage of that current happened after the switch, and that we will take it as electrical shock. Maybe it consumed to some person body. So they automatically will switch and protect this part of circuit and the user as well. It will be so recommended if we can use this type of switches for our, let's say, the children that will eliminate the potential of electrical shock and risks. Using PPEs, the personal protective equipments. Here, this drawing to show what is the difference between two cases with no boots or gloves and with using gloves and boots. We shock your body only the resistance, and we said that will be almost 10 ohms, which is less, and current will through your body and you will get shocked. But if you will wear gloves, if you will wear boots, the resistance of your body along with these equipment will increase, and less current can go through this in case any electrical shock. And absolutely this will reduce the level of heart or damage that you might occur by electrical shock. The human medical equipment, first aid equipment, it should be available in every house, in every office, or in every gathering place, because accidents will happen. And absolutely, we need to be trained how to use it. I believe that we have such services here in NTI. So, we talked about engineering devices. We talked about the equipment that we can use during the accidents or after the accident. Now, as a human factor, as ourselves, what we have to do? We have to be on high precaution to avoid electrical accident. From the beginning, I have to avoid the happening of such accident. And in case that accident will happen, what is the proper procedure I have to follow to save the life or eliminate the level of heart or injury of the victim? We have to get study and train this and keep it as a lifestyle for ourselves and the people that we are responsible for as well. Now, we have to regularly inspect the core and plugs and find out if any damage there. We have to stop using them. Also, I know that some adapters could be converted from 3 to 2, which is absolutely not recommended. I know that sometimes during your travels, during your camping, you will need for electrical source and you will not get the matching adapter, and you will go to this, not matching plug, and you will go to such adapter. I would recommend you to stop this. To who doesn't know, what's the difference between the 2 bins block and 3 bins block? The 3 is provided with the ground protection, while 2 isn't. So if we are going to use the 3 with 2, it means that we are not providing the ground protection for the device, and that will increase the hazards or risks of electricity. Absolutely, some accidents will happen. Daisy chaining. I personally saw a lot of such cases. We have extension, and from that extension, we'll start another extension. Sorry, this is totally wrong and unsafe, because this block has been designed to serve one equipment. By using the daisy chain or using it to provide power for another extension, it means that you are overloaded this point with 1, 2, 3, 4 devices, while it was designed only for 1. And that will cause overheated, and the insulation will be melt. Maybe some spark or heat source will come, and this will be potential risk. Pulling the cable under carpets, under furniture, is absolutely not correct way to deal with this equipment. Also, sometimes we are using nails to fix or arrange the electrical cable, and this is absolutely not proper way. So my recommendation is pay more attention, pay more time for such details, and follow the correct procedure or checklist and deal with this equipment correctly. At the results, you will save your life and your people with you as well. Try to avoid using long distance of cables. Yes, I know these cables could solve a lot of problems, because sometimes the arrangement of plugs are not matching the arrangement that we need for our electrical device. So we will go for long cables or wires, right? Long distance of wire, it means more resistance, more electrical resistance in that circuit. And the resistance will turn the electrical energy to heat energy. The temperature of this wire will be always high. And if the isolation material were not properly chosen, absolutely it will be melt. Now you will have electrical source, direct electrical source, and direct temperature source, and absolutely both of them are dangerous and high risk. Who didn't use this in his home? Many of us, no? We are using the same plug, and we operate almost the complete devices in the room on that. Sorry, this is wrong. The most proper solution, if you will stay in the place and the arrangement of plugs were not proper or they weren't matching your requirements, to communicate with the building service to add or modify the electrical system at that room or place to match your requirements proper in safe manner. Again, short circuit, it has its own risks. If we can, we might use the ground protected switch. These switches are designed to detect if there is any leakage to the ground, which is not a proper path for electrical to go. And that means there is some damage or there is some leakage in the circuit, and that could be due to electrical shock. So they can trip the circuit as well. Absolutely, during your observation to your plugs and cabs, if you will notice any loose, any smoke, any damage, you have to stop using that asset and go to replace it properly. Also, try to understand what was the reason of that damage, because we have to understand that that damage came by a reason. Maybe if we will replacement without fixing the main reason, the same damage will happen again, and that will cause maybe serious accidents. Now I think it's becoming a bit cold, and some people start to use heaters. These heaters are useful to feel as warm. Also, they are dangerous. So we have to keep in our consideration how to deal correctly with these devices. We shouldn't use more than 1,500 watts. Try to choose with tip over shut off. It means that if the heater will fall down, it will be automatically shut down. We have to put it in clear place and not nearby any piece of furniture or wood or cloth materials. Also, we have to keep all the materials shut off during non-use. Absolutely, this will keep our safety, also our budget, as you know. Now, in case that accidents happened and you were in the place where some person got shocked, the first thing that you have to put it in your consideration to calm down. Don't be nervous and just calm and keep quiet, and absolutely stop being a hero. Even if that person is one of your closest person in your life, part of your family or colleagues or son, daughter, whatever, don't jump on him and touch him directly. No. First thing you have to think about is to shut down the source. You have to remove the reason of the shock. Once you being sure that that was shut off, then you will go to the next step, which is calling the help. In some cases, we don't know how to shut down the source. Maybe we don't know the socket's place. We don't know the main circuit breaker. What we can do, we use any wood or any non-conductive or isolated material and push the person away from the touch point. Well, don't be afraid to make him pain or hurted by hitting him. No, you can hit him, avoid to hit in head, try to hit in his waist or chest and push him away from that place. Well, if you weren't able, if you weren't sure, if you weren't trained, don't involve. Just call the help. Just call the help. Keep in your mind, your behavior during this accident will decide how this case or situation will be end. If you will behave correctly and you will follow up the procedure correctly, maybe you will save the life of that person. So I encourage you to enhance your awareness, understanding, even skills in such training courses. Now, this hook, we use it in our electrical sites and electrical systems or substations, generation stations. We use this hook because maybe you will not have enough time to shut down the source of electricity. So the easier and quick step that we can do is pull that fellow who got touched by the electrical and get him away from the source. By the way, this hook is isolated and it's proper to handle many kVAs, high level of electricity. Maybe this is not available in all our offices or halls or places. So as I told you, you can go to any wooden material or any non-conductor material. After calling help, you can, if you were aware or you were trained, apply the CPR or the AED, get the victim out of the frozen, because if you remember, one of the consequences or one of the injuries of the electrical shock, getting the heart frozen, will be arrested, and this will cause deoxidation for the body, and that will lead to death. So if we will enhance blood cycle and enhance the heart to get back working normally, absolutely, we will be the reason to keep or save the life of that person. We have the world-class trainer and instructors in our NTI, and they will not hesitate to support you if you reach out. Now, even though things will be end safely, and we'll say that we were successfully saved the life of that victim, we have to keep him under notification for some time, because maybe after a couple of hours, some heart attack will happen for that victim because of that shock. So we have to let him rest, and we have to watch him if we are trained, or let the trained people do that, watch his status, or maybe take him to the nearest clinic or hospital, and they will put him under consideration for a time to be sure that he was getting out safe of that accident. Now, gents, we arrived to the end of this webinar, and I will summarize, go through quick what we have done. We did understand that electricity is a type of energy. We know that even if it has huge advantage of our life, the non-proper use or non-good condition use, we know what's the main condition of the electrical shock, and we understand what's the type and level of injuries and pain that could be resulted from that shock. We know the main 3 factors that we can work on to eliminate and reduce these risks. We talked about proper engineering and proper quality of the electrical device. We were talking about the first aid and home medical clinic, home medical equipment, and how it's necessary that we have to keep some kits in our places. Also, we have to know how to use them. And what is the precautions that we have to follow to avoid any accidents by electricity? And in case that accident was happened, what is the proper stage or procedures that we will follow to get that accident end safely and we can rescue the victim? In all of these information, I hope that your awareness has been enhanced, and now you got some more information and an idea how to act, how to use the electrical equipment, and that webinar became benefit for you and your team as well. Moreover, I will say that detailed knowledge and detailed procedure, even practical procedure we are providing here in NTI. Don't hesitate to contact us. That will help to save your family members, team members in the office and everywhere. This list were the references that we are depend in our knowledge material, and we will be happy to receive any concern, any doubt, any questions in our poll through 2 to 3 minutes. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be with you on the pool within a couple of minutes, inshallah, and get benefit of this webinar. That webinar will be loaded in our YouTube channel. If you missed or you got missed some information or details. Be safe, enjoy your weekend, and goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.